Now, turning our attention back to the Ukraine and Russia, President Biden and world leaders will be engaging in a string of emergency summits in Europe this week with the intention of finalizing and unveiling a package of new measures to punish Russia, help Ukraine, and demonstrate Western unity. When asked yesterday on CBS's Face the Nation about what he expects the president to do at his meeting this week with NATO allies, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell had this to say.
I think he needs to step up his game. He's generally done the right thing, but never soon enough. I mean, let's take a look at what's happened here. The Ukrainians have killed more Russians in 3 weeks than we lost in Afghanistan and Iraq in 20 years. I think we ought to go into this believing the Ukrainians can actually win. And the way they win is for us to get these defensive weapon systems to them as rapidly as possible.
So will President Biden step up his game, as Senator McConnell suggests? Here with me to talk about this is U.S. Representative Gary Palmer, who's a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee and chairman of the House Republican Policy Committee. Representative Palmer, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you. What's your reaction to Senator McConnell's comments there that President Biden needs to step up his game?
Well, I think he does. When President Zelensky spoke to us at the end, when he spoke in English, I was reminded of another speech given by the leader of a besieged nation, February 9th, 1941. Winston Churchill was speaking to Parliament. It was broadcast over the BBC, but he was really speaking to the people of the United States and to one person in particular, and that was President Roosevelt. And as you may recall, at the end of that speech, he said, "Put your trust in us. Give us your faith." And the last thing he said was, "Give us the tools and we will finish the job." I think we need to give them the tools.
Do you think there are tools that we are withholding at this point that are preventing Ukraine from mounting the defense they're capable of?
Well, I know they've asked for additional S-300 surface-to-air missiles. I think they may have stepped it up now and asked for S-400 systems. Those are systems that they're well familiar with. They're the old Soviet air defense systems that all of the Soviet bloc countries utilized. So I think we ought to get those to them. They've asked for the small arms, but they've also asked for the MiG-29s and that Poland has. They're not using those. And I think rather than us make this decision, we should let the people who are face to face with the enemy tell us what they need. I don't think they need to come on a Zoom call, as President Zelensky did, and tell us how they're going to use them. But I'm much more confident in the people facing the enemy knowing what they need than a bureaucrat sitting behind a desk 5,000 miles away.
That does make a lot of sense. Representative Palmer, we were just speaking with Gordon Chang about what's happening in China and Taiwan. You made some comments earlier this week that suggests you believe that China is using Russia. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know that they're using Russia. I think that Russia has become an example for them. I think that China, like the rest of the world, anticipated that the Russian military would roll into Ukraine and have the whole country, at least the capital city of Kyiv, within just a few days. And now we're almost a month into this war. And it's very apparent that, first of all, the Ukrainian people are not giving up their country. They've had 30 years of freedom. They do not want to go back to what they had under rule by the Soviet Union. But the other thing is how effective they've been in defending their country. Obviously, they don't have the manpower or the material to go head to head with the Russian army, but they've made this an unbelievably costly attack. I think China is observing that. But the other thing that China is observing is how damaging the sanctions have been to the Russian economy. And that's without cutting off Russian oil. You cut off the sale of Russian oil on the world market, and I think the whole Russian economy collapses. So I don't think China wants to go through that. The other thing, though, is I think Taiwan is watching this as well. This should also be instructive to China. I think the Taiwanese have enjoyed 70 plus years, almost 80 years of freedom, and they do not want to be ruled by China, and particularly Xi Jinping. So I think if China were to try to invade Taiwan, I think we should be providing shipload after shipload of weapons
Representative
to Taiwan
Palmer?
right now.
Unfortunately, we are at a hard break. We are up against it, but we appreciate your time today. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.